We first discovered dinosaurs in the early 1800s. The first one described was Megalosaurus in 1824 by William Buckland, who was known to have ties to Freemasonry. Finally, in 1842, Richard Owen came up with the word dinosauria. Owen wasn't a confirmed Freemason, but many intellectuals and scientists back then had links to Freemasonry or similar societies. Before that, people found dinosaur bones but thought they belonged to giants or dragons. It wasn't until the 1800s that we realized they were a whole different group of extinct animals. The discovery of dinosaurs began in the early 19th century. 1824. The first dinosaur to be scientifically described was Megalosaurus by William Buckland, an English geologist and paleontologist. 25. Gideon Mantell named Iguanodon, based on fossil teeth and bones he and his wife had found in England. 42. The term dinosauria was coined by Sir Richard Owen, who recognized that Megalosaurus, Iguanodon, and Hylaeosaurus shared unique features that distinguished them from other reptiles. While fossils had been discovered long before this, they were often misidentified as remains of giants or dragons. Dinosaurs never existed, wake up. Let's get one thing straight. Dinosaurs are a complete scam. A manufactured lie pumped into your brain since childhood through cartoons, TV shows, museums, and billion-dollar movies. Giant lizards roaming the Earth millions of years ago? Vanished overnight by a magic space rock? Seriously? You've been indoctrinated! Conditioned to believe in a fairy tale pushed by the same people who lie about everything else. Let's break it down. No one ever found dinosaur bones until the 1800s. Let that sink in. We've had ancient civilizations all over the world. They tracked stars, mapped the heavens, documented everything, and yet not one of them ever mentioned digging up a dinosaur. No murals, no writings, no legends, nothing. You'd think if 100-ton monsters used to walk the earth, someone would have noticed. But not a single mention for thousands of years. Then suddenly, in the 1800s, a group of Freemasons and government-funded scientists start discovering dinosaur bones out of nowhere. Just in time for the new Darwinist agenda and public schooling systems to rewrite history. Museum bones are fake. Here's a fun fact. The bones you see in museums are not real. They're casts, replicas, molded plastic, resin, and sometimes paper mache. The real bones? Too fragile to display, they say, or locked away in storage. Yeah, okay. You're being shown props and told they're ancient remains. That's like watching Jurassic Park and thinking it's a documentary. Here's what they tell you. 64 million years ago, a meteor slammed into Earth and instantly wiped out all the dinosaurs.
You'd think if 100-ton monsters used to walk the earth, someone would have noticed, but not a single mention for thousands of years. Then suddenly, in the 1800s, a group of Freemasons and government-funded scientists start discovering dinosaur bones out of nowhere. Just in time for the new Darwinist agenda and public schooling systems to rewrite history. Museum bones are fake. Here's a fun fact. The bones you see in museums are not real. They're casts, replicas, molded plastic, resin, and sometimes paper match. The real bones, too fragile to display, they say, or locked away in storage. Yeah, okay. You're being shown props and told they're ancient remains. That's like watching Jurassic Park and thinking it's a documentary. Where are the mass graves? Here's what they tell you. 64 million years ago, a meteor slammed into Earth and instantly wiped out all the dinosaurs. Cool story, but where's the evidence? Where are the giant mass graves full of tangled dinosaur corpses? Where are the ash-covered fossil beds from the impact winter? Where's the layer of death across the planet? You'd expect to find millions of bones in the same layer of rock, frozen in the moment of extinction. Instead, what do we get? Scattered bones, half-skeletons, reconstructions from a few teeth and a femur. They can't even prove these bones belong to one animal. They just piece together whatever fits the dinosaur fantasy they're selling. Why the lie? Why make up dinosaurs? Because it props up the fake timeline of Earth. Millions of years, evolution, random chance. It erases ancient truths. It buries real history. The advanced civilizations that came before. The real energy systems they used. The evidence of giants and cataclysms they don't want you to know about. Dinosaurs are just another layer of the lie. A distraction. Think about it. Dinosaur reconstructions are pure guesswork. Here's something no one talks about. We're told that scientists can take a few bones out of the ground, line them up, and accurately recreate what an animal looked like, its skin, muscles, posture, color, and even how it moved and roared. But let me ask you this. If we found a hippo skeleton today, with no living hippos to compare it to, what would the experts draw? A terrifying, razor-backed predator, long snout, rib cage like a carnivore. Maybe they'd throw in scales or feathers just to be trendy. But in real life, strip them to the bone, and you'd get a totally different monster. You wouldn't come close to the truth. Now apply that to dinosaurs. They build entire creatures off a skull, a few ribs, and an artist's imagination. They color them in, slap some skin texture on it, and boom, another species for the museum. They even admit most of what you see is filled in with speculation. Read the fine print. We have no clue what dinosaurs looked like, how they moved, or if they even existed as claimed. The reconstructions are not science. But here's the truth. If we can't even reconstruct a hippo correctly from bones today, what makes you think we got T-Rex right? Open your eyes. Stop worshipping reconstructions. They're not proof, they're drawings. And they fooled the world. You've never found a dinosaur bone. No ancient person ever did either. All the discoveries come from a small group of insiders. All the bones are fake. The extinction story has no physical evidence. And we just believe it because we were raised on it. It's time to stop accepting the story and start asking real questions. Everything I've been saying might seem like it's going in all directions. Dinosaurs are fake. The globe is a lie. History's been rewritten. Ancient tech erased. But it's not random. It's not noise. It's all for the same reason. They're hiding the truth of the world we used to live in. The old world wasn't primitive. It wasn't crawling with lizards and cavemen. It was advanced, unified, and fully tapped into free energy. We had airships, hovercrafts, massive blimps, and architecture that functioned as energy systems. We had a wireless power grid based on frequency, magnetism, and ether. And they covered it up. The great cover-up. They had to erase it all. So they created fake timelines, fake evolution, fake science, fake gods, fake space. They cooked up dinosaurs in the 1800s to distract you with ancient fairy tales instead of letting you ask what's under your feet. They pushed the spinning globe to disconnect you from your place, your purpose, your power. They rewrote history to turn you into a servant instead of a descendant of genius. The reset was real. In the 1600s and 1700s they started the reset. Cities burned, cultures erased, whole continents rewritten. They didn't build all that beautiful, impossible architecture you see in old photos. They inherited it, and then destroyed it. The world fairs were demolition events disguised as celebrations. They built temporary palaces just to tear them down. The world wars were cover stories to bomb out the rest. Targeted attacks on ancient infrastructure, not just killing people. Wiping out evidence. Dresden. Hiroshima. Nagasaki. Not random. They were old world cities, wiped off the map and rebuilt with glass, concrete, and lies. Dinosaurs are a psyop. Why make up dinosaurs? Simple. If you believe monsters roamed millions of years ago, you won't look into what existed a few hundred years ago. Dinosaurs were the missing link in a fake chain. They needed something ancient and monstrous to make Darwin's evolution theory feel real. You can't sell you came from monkeys unless you stack it on layers of deep time. So they made up a prehistoric world. A brutal one. A chaotic one. Full of death and extinction. Once you believe dinosaurs ruled for millions of years, it's easy to swallow the globe, space, the Big Bang, and the idea that you're just a cosmic accident on a spinning rock. It all feeds the same system. You'll ignore the airships in old photos, the domes. The towers, the empty cities. The technology built into cathedrals and mosques. Dinosaurs are not just fake bones. They're a keystone in the illusion. They make you think the past was wild, random, and meaningless, so you never ask what we actually lost. They erased the real timeline, the one filled with energy towers, ether tech, skyships, and sacred design, and replaced it with fossils, lava, and meteors. It's all connected. The Darwin lie, the globe lie, the dino distraction. It's not science, it's a spell. They replaced the past with bones and cartoons, and you bought it because you were raised on it. The globe is a prison for your mind. People talk about slavery like it's just chains and whips in the past, but the real game has always been ideological. You don't need metal shackles when you can program people with a belief. For 6,000 years, humans have been enslaved by ideas. Ancient kings. They said they were gods, and people believed it. Built temples and pyramids thinking they were honoring divinity. Really, they were just pouring their life energy into a system of control. India's caste system, karma was the ultimate con. Born into poverty or servitude. That's just your past life debt. Don't question the hierarchy, just suffer better. Greek democracy. Everyone loves quoting Athens, but they ran their freedom on the backs of slaves. If you weren't Greek enough, rational enough, male enough, you were property. Rome conquered people, slapped chains on them, and called it civilization. Law and order, but for who? Religion? Twist a verse here, reinterpret a prophet there. Next thing you know, people are selling human beings with God's name on the invoice. Crusades, jihads, saving souls in the Americas, all ideologies to justify domination. Colonialism and capitalism. Slavery got a new paint job. Now it's property, labor, progress. Africans became numbers on ledgers. Native people became obstacles to expansion. It was called manifest destiny, but it was just manifest delusion. Modern times don't sleep. Ideological slavery is alive and well. Communism said it was about freeing the workers. Capitalism says it's about freedom of choice. Both ran labor camps, one literal, one financial. And then there's the globe model, the image of Earth as a complete, enclosed world spinning through space. It's more than just geography, it's a powerful symbol. The globe tells us the world is fully mapped, fully understood, and there are no unknown edges or hidden realms to explore. It conditions us to accept a closed system of thought, a universe where all truths fed inside one accepted narrative. This image shapes how we think about our place in reality. It narrows our imagination, limits our questions, and traps us inside a worldview carefully framed to exclude alternative possibilities. The globe isn't just a model, it's an ideological boundary, another form of mental control. Ideas are the oldest chains. When you teach a mind to love its cage, it won't even dream of freedom. Have you ever looked at beginnings of NASA and the Apollo program? Most people don't. But if you dig just a little, it gets weird fast, like ritual weird. Start with Jack Parsons, rocket engineer back in the 30s, helped start JPL, which became a key piece of NASA. Sounds like science, but this guy was deep into the occult. He followed Aleister Crowley, the same guy who called himself the Beast. 666 Parsons led rituals in the desert trying to summon spirits, open portals, do sex magic. He called it the Babylon working, trying to bring a moon goddess into our world. And right after that, we suddenly have NASA and rockets named Apollo after a pagan sun god. The mission patches aren't just designs, they're symbols full of ancient meaning, not scientific data. And we're supposed to believe it's all coincidence. Now here's where Flat Earth comes in. You're telling me all this dark spiritual stuff just so happened to lead to the biggest space story ever, the moon landing. That just happened to be the proof we needed that Earth is a globe. But here's the problem, no one has ever seen the curve with their own eyes. The horizon stays flat, water always finds its level, buildings and cities can be seen from distances that should be impossible on a curved ball. So maybe the real reason for NASA, the moon missions, the rockets, the billions of dollars, maybe it wasn't about space at all. Maybe it was about hiding what we're really standing on. But believe it or you're crazy. Why push the question? Because a globe has no center, people find no direction, no divine design, and enclosed, no ancient grid, but a flat plane opens the door to truth. And if the foundation was a meaning led by a man calling on spirits, what does that say about the structure? The old world didn't vanish. They tell you buried is a spinning ball, flooded and masked, but the bones of it are still here. Not dinosaur bones, real bones. Structures.tech, architecture.knowledge. You're standing in the ruins of something incredible. And every lie you were told, from ancient lizards to outer space, was built to keep you from seeing it. They want you blind, distracted, domesticated. But once you connect the dots, there's no going back. List of poisons in our foods. Sweeteners: artificial, chemical. High fructose corn syrup, aspartame, sucralose. Isulfame, potassium, saccharin. Maltodextrin, dextrose. Preservatives. BHA, butylated hydroxyanisole, BHT, butylated hydroxytoluene. Sodium benzoate, potassium sorbate, TBHQ, propyl gallate. Dyes and colorants banned in some countries. Red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, blue 1, blue 2, green 3. Caramel coloring for MEI, flavor enhancers. Monosodium glutamate MSG, disodium inosonate, disodium guanylate. Natural flavors, undisclosed chemicals, toxic additives and agents. Titanium dioxide, carrageenan. Propylene glycol, polysorbate 80. Aluminum sulfate in processed cheese. Sodium nitrite, oils and fats. Partially hydrogenated oils, trans fats. Hexane extracted canola oil, soybean oil, corn oil. Processed bread chemicals, azodicarbonamide, potassium bromate. Enriched bleach flour, other contaminants. Fluoride in bottled drinks, BPA canned food liners, microplastics in salt, seafood glyphosate residue Roundup, atrazine herbicide in grains and water,